Are you tired of boring, static tokens in your Dungeons & Dragons game? If you are and you're using Foundry Virtual Tabletop, Token Magic FX may be the perfect add-on for you. Stick around and I'll show you 8 Dungeons & Dragons monsters that look way better with Token Magic FX applied to them. What's up gamers, I'm Josh and this is Copper Dragon Games. On this channel, I provide tips and tricks for dungeon masters trying to improve their games of Dungeons & Dragons. If you're trying to improve your craft, you're in the right spot. Today we're looking at 8 Dungeons & Dragons monsters that with the Token Magic FX add-on for Foundry Virtual Tabletop, you can make look amazing in your online game. This is a quick little video that we're going to fly through at breakneck pace, so let's jump right in. First off, I want to point out that the map I'm using is from Heroic Maps. The tokens are a mix of Devon Knight's work and the ones that come with the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game package. I'll link to the artists in the description below. Once you have Token FX installed, all you need to do is grab the macro from the compendium, add it to your macro bar, and then apply it to a token. I set all these up ahead of time so that we can speed through this video, but I encourage you to take the time to experiment with all the options that are available. There are lots more that I'm not showing here. But enough with the intro, let's see some cool effects. Let's start with this Ice Mephit. If you give some frosty wizard in your campaign an Ice Mephit as a familiar instead of one of the traditional options, you might want to make it stand out on the tabletop. So let's give it a little icy aura. Isn't that nice? Moving right along. Done our ice creature. So it makes sense that we would immediately jump into a fire creature. So let's go with a good old-fashioned fire giant. And now look, our fire giant is on fire. There are actually a ton of different fiery effects in Token Magic FX. This just happens to be the one that I like best. Water monster up next. I guess in this case, it's not really a monster, just a shark. But I hate how difficult it can be to represent a creature that's underwater while your players are on the surface. So I like to use this particular effect to give a visual representation of whether a creature is above or below water. Get our reef shark, and we will flood him. Onward to the next graphic. A shadow. Now these guys are supposed to be incorporeal, but this token looks very, very solid. So we add a quick effect. And all of a sudden, it looks a lot more faded, like somewhat see-through, I suppose. Alright, onward. Next we have our Ooze. The Ooze is supposed to be goopy and watery and flowing around. So let's add a distortion effect and make it goopy and watery and flowing around. Onward. The Willow Wisp. These guys are definitely supposed to be glowing and fading in and out. So let's create that effect with Token Magic FX with this little bloom effect. And suddenly our Will-O-Wisp is glowing and pulsing. Pulsing, that's the word I was looking for. Anyway, onward. This next effect had to have been created with specters in mind, or at least some kind of ghostly creature, because it works perfectly for them. One of my players uses this for a spirit that he summons with one of his spells. Looks great on that as well. One cool thing, these effects do not only work with static tokens, they also work with animated tokens, like this one. We're going to call this a Lich, even though with those potions in his hand, he looks more like an undead alchemist of some sort. Can alchemists be liches? I don't know. Anyway. So we'll say this is our villain. And in this case, our Lich is going to invoke some defensive magic before combat, creating some mirror images of himself so that he is harder to hit by the players. Now, as cool as that may look, it also hurts my eyes a little bit, so I'm going to turn that off quickly. It's important to note that the delete filters macro that comes with Token FX is extremely important because most of the effects do not just click on, click off. Double clicking it doesn't make them go away. So you need this delete filter so that you can go back. Another cool thing is that you can mix and match these. So if I really wanted to get crazy and I said he's going to use Armor of Agathis and then Fire Shield, maybe, and then jump in a lake, you can have many of these going on at the same time. So if you don't find an effect that you really love, you can also mix and match them to come up with some unique combinations and show off some really cool effects. Like I said, this is a short one, so that's all we've got today. If you like what you saw, learned something new, or just enjoyed hanging out, I hope you'll click that subscribe button below, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any future content. And if you're looking for even more Dungeons & Dragons related stuff, check out copperdragongames.com. I'll be back next time with more tips and tricks to help you improve your game of Dungeons & Dragons. See you then.